Hello and welcome to Seagulls Social Season 3, Episode 8. It feels like 8 years ago that we actually filmed, to be honest with you. But we're finally back on YouTube or Spotify or however you're listening to us. Joined with Maz. No Ben today. He's still away on holiday, which is sort of what's put the spanner in the works, to be honest.
Also, question, Ryan. I've got a question about this.
Okay.
So Ben, I'm sure hopefully he's listening. He's listening.
I'm sure he will.
What do you do for like a week and a half in Gibraltar?
Surely he's gone off the
like
face of the map to us. Honestly, it's just like I haven't heard from him at all.
How can you spend that much time in Gibraltar? What is there to do out there?
I've never been there, so I can't really speak for it, to be honest.
No, yeah, true. But surely a weekend will suffice, surely.
But no, a lot's changed since we were last on. Obviously. We spoke about Potter leaving. We spoke about the Chelsea stuff. Now it's sort of calmed down a little bit now. We're not so salty and we no longer are completely bitter over it. Well, I say completely.
Speak for yourself.
But I think it'll all calm down once we finally kick a ball. But it feels like a long time since we've kicked a ball. I think that's what feels weird. It feels like a long time ago since I watched football. Brighton anyway. But I believe we tweeted out about sort of talking about Roberto De Zerbi, trying to almost give a bit of a background on him as much as we know. I mean, to be honest with you, we're going into it a bit blind as well because we've never seen him actually play. We just have to go off stats and stuff. But Maz, have you done too much research on De Zerbi? Do you know much about this Italian man?
Yeah, I have to be fair. Yeah, I really dug it deep into it just because obviously once I heard his name being bandied about, I was like, right, well, he looks like he's one of the front runners along with Knutson at the time and a few other names sort of bandied about. So I was like, all right, let's do our research. So he started off in Serie A. He had one season with, I want to say Bari, but correct me if I'm wrong. I think basically he got relegated essentially from his first season in Serie A, but then he got plaudits for his attacking style of play and like the way he brought teams forward. And then he also, with regards to his attacking style of play, he got picked up by Sassuolo or Sassuolo. I don't know how you pronounce it. Sassuolo. And then he was there for 2 seasons, and I think got back-to-back 8th place finishes, which is mad, like
solid.
Which is amazing in Serie A. Like it's a very good quality league, as much as people might, say otherwise. I think it's a really good quality league, and to get back-to-back finishes with a very low budget. Not a great playing squad. To do that with them is fantastic work. And then he obviously left and went to Ukraine with Shakhtar, won in the league, won in a cup, and then obviously left because of the conflict. So for me, if you look at it on paper, it is very impressive. It's very impressive. And I'm really looking forward. I've heard a lot about his style of play as well. The way he's very free flowing, attacking football. However, I've heard from a few sources that defensively he's not as good. There's quite a few gaps, but I don't know. Yeah, what you obviously have done your research.
Yeah,
as well.
I was sort of letting you have, because to be fair, I didn't really look too much into his background prior to sort of 2016. I didn't really know how he started, so that's actually quite interesting to me as well. But I remember his Sassuolo team because I remember them being quite talked about in a tactical sense, particularly I think in like 2020, 2018 to 2021, I think it was around that time. But I remember he was quite talked about, not so much as a manager, but as about the style of play. A lot of the players like Locatelli, etc., got quite good coverage. I remember going into the Euros, Locatelli was the man to watch and everything. And I think I even put him down as a man to watch in one of our videos back then. So it goes to show that the job that he was doing at Sassuolo was that good that, he was a very, very talked about manager in Italy. And, well, I mean, Italy won the Euros with some of those players. So it goes to show that, what he was doing was the right. Obviously, you've got the talent in the players, but you've got to get the best out of them as well. But yeah, I think that he's a very, as you say, attacking manager. I think that ultimately the defensive worries won't be as bad with us. And I say that not in a deluded sense, but defensively we've got a lot of quality there, probably compared to what he had before us. With Duncan, Webster, etc. I don't need to go through our whole defence to know how much quality we've got back there. But I don't think that will be as big a problem, because I think naturally if Dunk was trying to be told to go up to every corner and never come back again, I think he would be naturally not comfortable with that one. He would be wanting to defend and say, no, look, we need to also defend, it's the Premier League, etc. But I think ultimately we're not going to see too much change straight away. At least I hope not, because we've got a working system at the minute, and we've got a team that plays with each other. Obviously De Zerbi's going to want to put his own stamp on. He's already said that, and that's absolutely fine. You can't just live in the past, but at the same time, you need to do what works. And I think that the players will know what works as well. We've got a good coaching team. I believe what he's taken with him, the guy who was in Ukraine with was in the Ukraine national side, was apparently very instrumental in what he did over there. Very, very big because obviously the national team of Ukraine have actually done really well recently. So he's quite instrumental in that. So it's reassuring, to be honest. It looks like he's taken some very good gems with him, and obviously because we lost so many people in Bruno, etc., which we already know about. It's nice to almost be refilled with a new era, isn't it? It's like, you may have lost your Bruno at Brighton, you may have lost your Ben Roberts at Brighton, but you've got the new age now, and it's quite nice almost. Maybe we needed it. These things happen for a reason, and I always believe that, to be honest. So I'm looking forward to it. I really am looking forward to it. I'm past the point of bitterness, and I'm more excited now to just see how it all goes. And Liverpool should be fun.
I was going to ask, because obviously I've seen online, even when it happened, I'm not going to lie, I was really pissed off with Bruno. Like, I get it. Look, Potter, he's got his backroom staff. He takes, all them with him. That's fine. That's no problem. They've been with him his whole career. I get it. My only I was a bit pissed off with Bruno just because I was like, look, we sort of, obviously you had a great playing career with us. The fans loved you. You were adored by the whole club. And we actually said to you, look, this is a pathway. We're going to give you a pathway to get into management, and we're going to support you in that journey. And then for him just to sort of go off with Potter, I felt a little bit of a kick in the balls. But I'm not. Yeah, I get it though. Again, like, he wants to progress. He obviously, going to a bigger club.
That's why I'm
money,
sort of like a bit like, would you have done the same? If there's a big opportunity at Chelsea, it's a bigger club. You could potentially get very good hands-on manager experience. I don't know. There's things there that I can see why he would do it. I'm probably a little bit more, now the dust has settled, edging towards that. But I think that the Potter thing is particularly annoying. Just, I get that he's got a big payout. I get that Chelsea paid the money. But I really only see it as that. And I don't mean that in like a bitter way. I mean it more so like, you look at Todd Boehly, some of the stuff he comes out with is crazy. I mean, he is a quite crazy guy. And sometimes I just wonder, is Potter, he's a very well intelligent, thought out man. And, how he communicated with Bloom, it appears to the outsiders anyway, it seemed like a very, very strong, good relationship with, a lot of thought behind everything that was going into everything. Whereas with Todd Boehly, I'm sure he has his own vision and that's fine. But I just worry that it does feel like a bit of a money grab. It does feel like it could potentially come back and haunt him. And I'm not saying I wouldn't grab the money as well, but it's probably more to the fact that, you worry that how that could impact his sort of career as a whole. I mean, it might look like a step up now, but if he doesn't do well at Chelsea, they are cutthroat. You've seen their fans on social media. I think if Potter is still using Twitter at the moment, I think he's probably deleted it because he must be horrified by some of the comments he's seen already.
I saw wasn't it #PotterOut trending?
Yeah, #PotterOut was trending. Like, some of their fans are putting posters up saying about Potter out, and like, you just got to think. I don't even know sometimes. I know social media is crazy, and we spoke about it before. But I mean, if Potter didn't particularly take the criticism very well here, it has to be said.
We need to get a history lesson, club. I think, right?
Yeah, we need to get a history lesson. He took the sort of 10 boos seriously. It did seem like he did look through social media as well. He took a lot of opinions to heart by the looks, and it does make you wonder how he's going to now react on a much, much, much bigger stage at Chelsea, because opinions will be flying around without hesitation over there. They really are used to success, so that's how it's going to be. But I don't know, Maz. What do you think that just to sign it off on Potter? Because I don't want to just make this a Potter podcast because he's gone now. But are you in good spirits about him? Do you want him to do well? Or are you a bit like, if he flops, he flops. If he flops, I will love it. Where are you on that scale? I don't know.
Yeah. No, I'm not. So let's say like 10 is where like I want to see him fail. I hope he does really bad. That's like 10, and then obviously 0 is where I would love him to do amazingly well, and I wish him all the luck. So on that scale, I'd say I'm about. I'm bang in the middle. I say 4 or 5. I'm more towards leaning towards him doing well. Like, at the end of the day, let's be real. He was one of our best ever managers. ever to do it, especially in the Premier League. He's by far the best, and he got some great success for us. Obviously, didn't win anything with us or anything like that, but still, like the football we played, the results we got, some notable results against Man City, Man United, Arsenal, Spurs,
massive
like
days.
all big clubs. We got some really good results, and I couldn't imagine that under any other manager. But I feel like there's a little bit of me where I'm still a bit pissed off how it all, like the timing of it. I feel like if he'd maybe done it at the beginning of the season or at the end of the season, I would have been a bit more cool. Yeah, fine, that's fair enough kind of thing. Just the timing for me just still sort of hurts a little bit. But no, I genuinely don't. I don't want him to flop. I don't want him to be hounded out of Chelsea or anything like that. But if he does flop, it sort of, I suppose our fans will be like, "Oh, I told you so. You should have stayed." Blah blah.
Yeah.
So it works both ways. But I don't wish him any. I don't wish him any sort of like bad wishes or anything like that. But if he does flop, then
See, that's the thing, isn't it? Like, I'm not saying I want him to flop. Obviously, it's completely different. But then if he does, and I'm not going to be, "Oh no, Potter, I hope you're okay," put my arm around him, sort of thing on social media, because you have left us, so you've gone into the lion's den, and if you get bitten, then you've gone in there and
exactly. I love that analogy. That's a great analogy, that.
Yeah, well, if you're going to go into there, you shouldn't be afraid to get bitten. So that's what he's now got. He's now got to fend off all of that, because he's going to be certainly filled with it. But anyway, let's move on from Potter, because I think that statement has been said too many times over the last couple of weeks. But we'll go to Roberto De Zerbi, because obviously our first game will be against Liverpool. I don't want to just move on to a match preview yet, because I think we've got a bit more to talk about. But in terms of how he's going to get the best out of these players, because I've seen a lot of sort of links. I've seen Leandro Trossard's been obviously now linked away. Maz Caicedo has now been linked away to Chelsea. And we're going to get this a lot. And I actually put a tweet on this morning saying we're going to get a lot of our best players being linked to Chelsea now because they're Potter's boys. And it makes you wonder, how's Roberto De Zerbi going to get his stamp on these boys? Is he going to be able to just make them believe in him and not want to go back to Potter and think that? Or is it going to be a case of, we might lose Trossard, we might lose Caicedo, and De Zerbi will want his own team by January? Bloom might have to spend, and that's maybe why we didn't spend in the summer. You don't know. But Maz, what do you think on that in terms of players coming and going, and who De Zerbi will find most sort of fun in?
Yeah, well, no, that's a really good point, actually, because I've seen all the Trossard stuff and the Caicedo stuff. So I think Trossard said, if the opportunity arises, I want to go. But I want to play and not sit on the bench. I think that's a key bit as well. Yeah. It's like if you were to go to Chelsea, okay, it's a better, you're going to play Champions League football, you're in a better quality, you're going to get paid better, etc., etc. However, are you going to play week in, week out? That is the big question. Whereas at Brighton, you will guarantee you're one of the first players on the team sheet, and you're contributing goals, you're contributing assists, you're actually contributing towards the team, and on international level, you're going to get the accolades, internationally. However, club level, he'll be thinking, well, am I going to win anything at Brighton? Am I actually going to, am I going to get Champions League football? All these questions, which we probably can't offer him. We can't offer him Champions League football, but European football, I don't see why not. Conference League, even Europa League potentially. But I can see it from these players' perspectives. Caicedo, Trossard, why you'd be interested to leave. I get it.
Of course you would, yeah.
I 100% understand. But for example, let's say Caicedo, for me, he's still got 2-3 years of development. Still, he's unbelievable. Don't get me wrong. He's incredible. But I feel like it would be such a shame to see him go to like a Chelsea or somewhere like that and not get played as much. And then this soon, it just stalls his development, in my opinion. So it'd be a great shame to see like Caicedo leave now, because I just feel like you should stay and develop yourself. Like Basuma did. Basuma, developed his play, and he left when he was 25, 26. So I would love to see him do that kind of path. But I feel like De Zerbi can get the best out of the attacking players mostly. I feel like that's where he's going to really thrive, is, hopefully get our, we've always screamed out for like a winger, like an out-and-out winger, or like someone who can attack. I feel like he can do that for us.
It seems like he plays quite wide, actually. But from what I've looked at, he seems to overload in attack and sort of pushes the wide players very, very high, and sort of has your defenders almost in a back two, which is similar to actually how Potter played in the sort of offense when it came to going forward. He sort of kept Dunk straight back, and then it was everyone else sort of pushed up in that sort of similar fashion. So, there's a lot of similarities between the two managers, to say the least. But just to touch on the point you said about sort of international football, Cucurella isn't in the Spain squad, I don't think. At least I've looked. So, it's the grass isn't always greener. I'm not saying Cucurella won't be a success at Chelsea, but, that's a prime example as you don't just go to a top club and get picked for your country, because clearly the Spanish manager doesn't rate him, whereas Sanchez is still in that team and he's highly rated in Spain. So I guess that's just one of those things to take into account. But yeah, in terms of De Zerbi, I mean, I think obviously Trossard's going to be potentially big with him. I think yes, I could see sort of Enciso or Sarmiento or something like that maybe having more of a chance now, because although Potter gave chances to youth players, he was more sort of known for sending them out on loan first, whereas it looks as though De Zerbi's used to doing it with a very tight budget and just throwing these people in it when they need to be, which is probably a bit of a gamble, which we need, to be honest. He's quite a passionate manager, which is going to be really good. I think I said he's one of the most least corporate guys, which we haven't had in absolutely ages. I mean, Chris Hughton was, I love Chris Hughton, but very, very corporate in the media, didn't really say what he shouldn't say, very cool on the touchline, same with Potter at the best of times. But it looks like with De Zerbi, we could be seeing some Mourinho-esque, like running up and down the sidelines, coming up to the fans, pointing, punching the air. That to me is refreshing, and it's a bit more Brighton to me. I don't know if that's just jumping too soon, but I'm excited by that. Imagine at Anfield, he's running along, comes over to the away fans, he's like this, like Mourinho did for Chelsea.
Yeah, I was about to say, like a Mourinho touchline, run up and down. Now, I've seen a few videos of him like chucking water bottles and stuff. Yeah, like, he does seem like a bit of an angry man. But like you said, I feel like it can definitely be a good thing as well. Like, if he can channel it in the right way, hopefully.
Yeah, not become like Jesse Marsh and just throwing stuff around and getting angry.
Yeah, I wouldn't want him to be that kind of manager where he's like pedantic and like, a bit of a crybaby. I wouldn't want that. Like somebody just cries at every decision or was like, shouting all the time. I'd be like, oh, come on, mate, like chill out a little bit. But at the same time, I agree with you. I would love to see that kind of passion and that fight and that fierce nature. I think that's what we've been lacking actually. This is actually a good point. Someone mentioned this actually. Yeah, because like we always said, haven't we, in the past, like we're sometimes too nice as a club or like as a football team on the pitch. We're sometimes a bit too nice, and hopefully De Zerbi can bring that bit of fight, a bit of a bit of a mean side to us, because I think sometimes we lack that. We're a bit too nice, like we might be one goal up or whatever, and we'll be like, oh yeah, and then you don't see like those challenges flying in. Like I would love that in a derby, like let's say against Palace or whatever, not derby, sorry, rivalry. I'd love to see like those challenges flying in like from the off, and that's because of De Zerbi, and he's there on the sideline like, oh, come on lads, get into him. Like I'd love to see that, because I think it just gives us that extra that other side to us which we haven't had, and I think we've lacked in the past as well. Yeah,
and I'm just watching like little clips of De Zerbi ball here. It's not called De Zerbi ball, it's some like Italian name. I've already messed it up. It's like De Zerbismo or something.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, I need to get it right, but it was something like De Zerbi Zemo or something. So I'm sure we'll be saying that soon if it all works out. But I mean, I'm looking at clips here of him at Shakhtar and the football on display here, albeit at a much lower standard. Obviously, Shakhtar Donetsk isn't Premier League football, but then neither was Östersunds, and neither was even Swansea in the Championship, mid-table Championship. It's not Premier League. Obviously the jump's going to be big, but we've already got the quality now. And what sort of makes me feel a little bit more happy is, at the beginning of Potter's reign in 2019, we were probably a little bit naive to what we were coming into. We didn't realise probably the biggest shift was changing the mentality and dynamic of all of these players. And now we've got sort of players that are well seasoned in terms of playing attacking football, in terms of playing ball playing football and getting players forward and being much more fluid in transition and structured in sort of counter press. But I think that, I don't know, I feel like we're a lot more well drilled and well prepared, should I say, for De Zerbi's entry, as opposed to when we signed Graham Potter at the beginning. It's less of a like, oh my god, we could go get smacked 4-0 against Liverpool, because it's a bit more like, I don't think we will anymore. Maybe this is famous last words if we do, but I think most of the time now you still got the quality of these players in there, and albeit Graham Potter did a great job, these players are very, very good players. I mean, all of these players get into good teams now, and that's why all the good teams want them. And that's, I think, what we need to almost remember. Do you agree? The quality of our players.
My question would be, this is what I've been asked by rival fans, well, mainly one Palace fan, actually. But he's asked me, he's like, oh, is the only reason your players are good now, or that you've been playing, is because of Potter? He's saying that Potter got the best out of them. But I don't know. It's, I mean, I agree. I think
he does. I think he has. Yeah, I think. Yeah, of course he has.
But his argument. So this Palace fan, I won't mention his name because I don't want to give him the clout. But he was saying that basically the only reason why our players are good is because of the way that like he's saying they're all average, but Potter got the best out of them. That's what his logic was, which I don't agree with, really. I feel like we have got some quality players, but I will agree with that. Of course, Potter took them to that next level. I think there was like beyond their quality or beyond their actual playing ability. I wouldn't look around our squad and think, oh, they're absolutely crap, and the only reason why we were doing well is because of Potter. Like, I don't think that's the case. But I do see this the flip side of it and see, I think he's bought a lot of it. So with De Zerbi, I just hope that he can do the same. I feel like if he can bring out the best of all these players that, you know, some people think are average or whatever you want to call them, hopefully that's what De Zerbi can do.
I don't think we'll have that problem though. Funnily, I think we will be all right. I mean, as I say, we've got so much quality, especially in our youth team and our youth systems, and even out abroad and on loan across the leagues everywhere. We've got a great network of players now. Really, really do great network of players, and I don't think that even in that first 11, we've got players that are going to struggle with a different change in manager. Like I fully back our players, and you know, as you always should. I think I put this tweet on at the beginning. I said that was time to get behind these boys. You know, give them the credit that they deserve, and not put it on any coaching because we need to back these boys. And people were almost taking it as if I'm saying, well, we should have done that anyway. And I'm thinking, no, that's not my point. My point is, you know, we're now back in it. I don't know how people manage to take a positive and quite wrong, to be honest, but it's more to the fact that, you know, we've now got to almost support these players. I don't know how to make that make sense. You know what I'm trying to say? I'm trying to say, the quality of the players needs to almost shine through now, as opposed to the coaching tactics, if that makes sense.
No, 100%. I feel like they need to step up, don't they? Like, this is the time to like show right. It doesn't matter who we got in charge. Yeah, who, regardless of who we got in charge, we are the people. You know, we're the players on the pitch, and we're the ones that make things happen. And I feel like, I really want to see like the leaders in the squad. Really, I saw Lallana obviously coming out straight away saying, like, don't worry.
Lallana was class actually at the beginning.
Yeah, when he first came out, he was just like, he was brilliant. He was like, like, don't worry. Like, as much as it's a big loss, which everyone knows it was, you know, don't worry, we've got this. Like, you know, let's look forward. And, you know, and I really like that. I really like how the senior players stepped up. And I think that's what we really need now. We need the Welbecks. We need the Lallanas. We need the, you know, even like the Crofts, who's been there and, you know, and are now sort of, you know, behind the scenes. They're the kind of people that we need to be sort of, you know, what's the word? Stabilising the ship, or how we call it.
I agree.
You know, making sure that we don't just, because we could easily go, like, we're fourth at the moment, which obviously we're you know, is above our station, so to speak. But like, that could easily, we could go on a terrible run and we could literally, you know, plummet down the league, and that could easily happen. It's the Premier League; anything can happen. We could lose like 5 on the bounce. That's not.
Well, we did last year, didn't we, on the Potter?
Well, exactly, like, too much.
Worry for him. You know, if he does that at Chelsea, they won't stand for that as easy as we did. I mean, we really did stick by him in the very tough times at times, to be honest. But I'll just talk a bit about just before, because I don't want to drag this out too long. But there's obviously been internationals as well. Kara Matoma scored for Japan, and I don't know if you saw the goal, Maz, but it was a great finish.
Unreal, bottom corner.
Really was a great finish. Yeah, against the US as well, which was, you know, it's not a terrible team to score against. I know they're not like the best, but they're pretty decent. Yeah. And you know, it's a great well taken finish. If you haven't seen it, he sort of cut it off the left side and sort of just stroked it past the goalkeeper, curled it around the player, used him as a bit of a wall. But this is how I look at it: is, you know, you've got Matoma's pace directness, as we all know. He is a great player, Matoma. We've seen the early signs of him looks really, really promising. And I know it does feel like a long time ago since we've watched him play football, but it won't be too much longer. But he's one of the players, actually, that, like Sarmiento, like Leandro Trossard, who will be almost rubbing their hands at the fact that we've got Roberto De Zerbi in now. Because, you know, De Zerbiismo, whatever it's called, is seemingly like Potter ball, as we've already mentioned, but it's a bit more direct and it's a bit more ruthless. And, you know, we've already spoken about his ruthlessness on the touchline, but it seems like there's a bit more urgency to it which is, as I say, for Mitoma, he's got to be rubbing his hands here and thinking, well, I've got the pace, I've got the directness, I can finish, as you can clearly see. He'll be thinking, well, this is my chance to shine now, because these wide players that we've got in the team, but we haven't used them probably to their best advantages at times. They've got to be excited, I'd say. I mean, you've got some good talent there, I think.
100%, and I think that's a good thing, but also potentially not a bad thing. But my only worry is like, okay, cool. If he comes in and changes a lot, like let's say first game he's like absolutely change everything, like I don't know, change system, change players. My only thing would be like, right, well we're doing pretty well. Like let's carry on what we're doing until you then see, oh, this is a flaw. I don't like this. This is my system. I'm going to change this. Blah blah blah. That would be my only that would be my only reservation. Is like if he does bring in, let's say Mitoma, Sarmiento, and Caicedo straight away, and then they don't do well. Then you're like, well, look, it was all going pretty well before. Why do you feel need to come in and like do a really harsh change or a big sort of upheaval? But that's not to say that those players won't do well. Like I've got full confidence in Mitoma, in Caicedo, and Sarmiento, even like Ferguson. Like I would love to see him play. I know he scored. He actually scored for the under-21s as well. Yeah. So shout out to him. But yeah, like I 100% agree with you. I think it would be great to see those wide players and those wide players come in and stuff. I just feel like I wouldn't want him to do anything too crazy too soon. Well, I'd want him to get his bearings first, and then go on.
Yeah, I was just looking into him a bit there on The Athletic as well. I think The Athletic did a good little piece on him. Shout out Liam Tharm as well, because he did a bit about De Zerbi as well. We've had Liam on in the past. He's a great guy. But he seems like a bit of a descendant of Pep Guardiola, and I know that most modern managers are a bit of a descendant of Pep Guardiola these days, but I don't know what you thought, Maz, but I don't know if you saw the all the Guardiola stuff where he's sort of welcoming me in, saying how great the club is. He's sort of bigging up Brighton and selling it to De Zerbi before he even signed for us, and I was just like, wow, because I don't know if Pep, I think he does praise people, but it seems like he does have genuinely a lot of love for this club, particularly as to how he seems to run. It does suit him, 100%. Which is exciting, I think. Don't you think?
Yeah, 100%. I think I think Pep is a proper football man, as in he's a purist. He just loves good football. I think he just appreciates when a team plays well. If a club's well run, everything's sort of good about the club. I think he gives credit where credit's due, and he will probably praise us. And I've noticed that because like, let's be real, like the way our clubs run is incredible. We're not one of those sort of we don't have a massive one of those owners
up, like, again, with these massive hits that we seem to take, losing players. Now we lost a manager, lost coaching staff, we've lost backroom staff, and we've still bounced back.
I think that's a really good point. I think that's the key thing for me is no matter who we've lost, whether it's managers, players, even to technical directors such as Ashworth, we've shown time and time again. Well, fingers crossed, and we could do it again. But we've shown time and time again that we can come back from that. Like you said, the bounce back ability is incredible. Yeah. I think that's so impressive, and that's a testament to Tony Bloom. I think right at the top, who's making these decisions.
And Paul Barber as well. And Paul Barber gets a lot of stick, obviously, but the way that him and Bloom operate this club, it really is incredible. On a pure footballing basis, that is the way that the clubs run it. Honestly, is so well fond of around pretty much everyone that knows and understands how clubs work and how business structures in clubs work. And I think that again with De Zerbi coming over here and Guardiola bigging it up. I mean, Guardiola's given us a lot of praise in the past, but it seems like it does feel genuine to me. It feels like, I think he even said that he went out for dinner with him, I think, and it was like they had a private conversation. And I think De Zerbi is a big fan of Guardiola, obviously, as most good managers are. But I think for Pep to go out of his way and take him for dinner, to talk to him and introduce him and wish him luck and say that he's there for him, if he needs anything, he's there for him. Obviously, just not against Man City. I think that's really cool. I think I like that a lot. I think people can be skeptical and say, oh, he's just being condescending or anything, but I don't think that's the case. I genuinely think he is a nice guy, and it's just quite reassuring to me that the way De Zerbi seems to play football is based on that. And again, we've got another modern manager into the Premier League. This Premier League is getting filled with talent now in terms of managerial positions. We've got some serious talent. Thomas Frank as well, newly in the Prem. There's some big sort of good managers in there now. So it's going to be a tough a tough opening, which leads me on nicely, to be honest, to talk about Liverpool, which does feel like an age away now, but it will come around very quickly. We've got Liverpool at Anfield, which will be De Zerbi's first game.
Yeah,
I'm really excited. I will be there. I'll be in the away end, which I'm very excited about. Because I've never been in the away end at Anfield. I only went in the home end last time. But this should be good. I'm really excited for it. De Zerbi's first game, Maz. Obviously, Liverpool haven't really been at it this year. I mean, they've had that 9-0, which was like an absolute one-off. But I don't know. It's just, this feels like a whole new era now, doesn't it? Liverpool seem to be changing. The Giants are falling. The new man's in at Brighton. How are you feeling ahead of Liverpool?
Mate, yeah, like you said, they've not been convincing this season. But that's not to mean they're going to be crap and they're going to be, they're ultimately they are Liverpool. They're the second best team in the league. Like, not right now, obviously, but over the last 2-3 seasons.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Over the last 2-3 seasons, behind Man City, there's not been a better team than Liverpool. So like you can't just walk, you can't go to Anfield and think, oh yeah, we can get a draw here, or we can get a positive result out of this, because it's always going to be difficult. Like you said, Anfield as well, like the atmosphere, all that kind of stuff. But yeah, this season, 4-1 to they lost to Napoli, lost 2-1 to Man United, and they've drawn against Palace, Fulham, Everton. Like that's pretty poor, to be honest. Yeah, exactly. Like, there's definitely potential for us to do it. It'll be interesting to see what kind of players they've got available, because I know they had a few injuries, didn't they, especially in midfield. So whether they've now recovered those players like Thiago, Fabinho, key players, because I think they had a midfield of Milner, Elliott, and I think Carvalho last game, which just shows like they are really, and not to say that they're bad players. Like Carvalho and Elliott are definitely up and coming and very good young prospects, but for the right here, right now, they want their Fabinhos, they want their Naby Keitas, they want those players that can come in now, Thiago. So yeah, I feel like depending on what if they've got a fully fit squad, I think that'll be key. Like that midfield battle, I think, will be massive, especially if those players aren't playing. I think we can definitely, like Caicedo there, Pascal Gross, they can really sort of stick it on them. But yeah, it's going to be a tough game.
Do you think that De Zerbi has a potential of taking them almost by surprise as well? I mean, as much as they'll do their research, and I'm sure Klopp will do his extensive research on De Zerbi, but ultimately no one really knows as to how he's going to come out against Liverpool. 100%. It could be completely terrible. It could be, we could get battered, but it could also be, on the other side, really, really entertaining, great football, dominate the game, which our players have the potential to do. We've proven it so many times, time and over, against all the big teams. So
100%.
I don't know. I'm not saying I'm confident, but I would say that there's a reason to be confident. I think it's probably the right thing to say.
Well, just on that. Obviously, the last time we played, let me just double check. The last time we played was on against Leicester, obviously, which was on the 4th of September. And by the time we play Liverpool, it's going to be the 1st of October. So I know he only got appointed, let's say a week ago now, around that. So he's going to have about 2 weeks worth of training. So he's got another 6 days until the game. So he's going to have like a long time to prepare, so he can actually put his stamp on the team already. And usually when a new manager comes in mid-season, they have maybe a couple of days before their next game. Potter had his first Champions League game within 2 days, I think, of joining. So
and didn't win.
Exactly. So I feel like that definitely does help, having that time of 2-week period of being with the lads on the training pitch, instilling your philosophy, your tactics, your team. You can really.
He's had a great time period, hasn't he? Like he really, it's actually come at a good time for him, to be honest.
100%.
He's really had that time to now bond with those players. The players that will come back from internationals this week as well. I bet they're excited as well to see this next chapter. I think. I don't know. I'm really excited. I don't want to say that I think we're going to go win this game, because I think that's probably on the bold side.
Big, yeah.
But it's a potential that we could at least get a point here, because, as you say, Liverpool haven't been great. They might come back and be really good, but Klopp seems to have a funny thing in his 7th or 8th season, is it? That he always seems to fall down, and he's historically done it at Dortmund, etc. before. So whether that's going to be the case, and he does have a bad season this season, I mean, it's definitely started off poorly. And
100%.
There's a reason to be positive there, I think. De Zerbi balls in. We've got to back these boys now. We've got to back everyone at this club. We've got to fully get behind it. I want the fans completely behind it because I'm sure they will be, as our away fans are fantastic. And they'll all be behind it at Anfield, I'm sure.
No, 100%. And one thing, this is sort of away from the Liverpool game, but one thing I just do want to say, and I've said this on another sort of podcast before, but I don't want to come on here and be like, I think De Zerbi's going to like absolutely like smash it. He's going to be unreal, because I still do have like, with any new manager, I think you're going to have doubts.
You've got to be a bit worried.
Like naturally you're going to have a few doubts. So my only thing is like, like we mentioned earlier in the pod, it's like, okay, Ukrainian league's all well and good, but is the quality all there? Obviously, fair play. Syria was amazing. Like what he achieved.
Probably what we don't need is in 4 months' time, when we could potentially go on a bad run. Say it does start very well, and we do get a result against Liverpool, go on a bit of a run, beat Tottenham even, and we have a really, really great start. I don't want us to then 4 months' time, everyone's like not Potter out, but De Zerbi out, or looking at I've had enough of De Zerbi, because he's got to have a lot of time to almost rebuild what's been left behind, really, and it's now his chance to. I think Tony Bloom's even said they can be having internal discussions. Of course, they will be talking about going into January window and looking potentially at players that would suit his team, because ultimately these are Potter's boys. This isn't De Zerbi's team, and he might not get on with that team. He might want someone else.
100%, and I think a really a big point as well is, with regards to Potter, the comparisons between De Zerbi and stuff, he's going to have that. The expectations are going to be completely different.
Yeah.
When Potter came in, we were like, just cute, and had just kept us up. Yeah. And the expectations are a bit like, okay, cool. Like if he gets us mid-table finish or just above the relegation zone, cool. Whereas I feel like how De Zerbi's come in with us being fourth, the expectations are completely different. It's now we expect him to do well, or we want him to get us mid-table. That should be like the minimum. So I think actually De Zerbi's he's actually got a harder task, because
he's got a tough job on his hands.
Yeah, he comes in with a much more expectation now. Whereas with Potter came in,
as well, like that whole connection as well that Potter seemed to have at the end, and all that punch in the air and saying he had no idea that he was going to leave, which just seemed to be complete rubbish to me. But that connection, he has to now build, and he has to play that football that we're so used to, and have that no fear factor going into any game. And that's now on De Zerbi's shoulders to sort. So it's a big job on his hands, and that's why I don't want I'm not saying that our fans will. It's more about, I hope that our fans don't eventually get on his back after a few months, and we get into the new year and we're all looking, I don't want that, because otherwise it then gets that divide. We don't want that divide. We want to get behind these guys and really give De Zerbi what he deserves, because because he does deserve to at least have the fans behind him for this season, without a doubt.
Yeah, no, 100%. I agree. And looking towards again, we should wrap it up. Well, what's your score prediction?
Okay, score predictions. I'm going to say 1-1, because I don't know how he's going to go and attack them. So I can't say that his attack's going to be successful, and I can't say that his defence won't work, because I know that's a criticism, but I always feel like that can't defend thing is always a bit of a narrow-minded approach to say that he plays good football. If you know what I'm trying to say, it's a bit of a English way of saying it. I don't know what it is. There's an English arrogance around those sort of things. We just can't defend. But I think that we'll come out strong. I think that the boys will be ready for it. I think that the fans are going to be fully behind it. I expect that our atmosphere from our end is going to be very good, because Anfield, when it's not a European night, it's often quite quiet. So he'll definitely be able to hear us. And I'm looking forward to it. Going to be a good day out. And also, actually, Maz, this weekend that will be coming up will mark 2 years, I believe, of Seagulls Social, which is crazy. So hopefully, it's all completely new to us. We've got 2 years of Seagulls Social this weekend, and we've also got De Zerbi's new era. So there you go.
What a time to be alive, mate! What a time to be alive.
What about you, by the way? Score prediction?
Yes, I'm gonna go. I feel like it's gonna be another draw. I feel like with it being his first game in charge, I feel like we can get a good result. But I just don't know. The win seems out of reach. I don't want to be negative, but it just feels out of reach, the win. So I'm going to go 1-1 draw. 1-1 draw for me. Yeah.
So we got on the same. That should be interesting. I'm excited.
Yeah.
I'm genuinely really excited. I don't even tell in my face. I'm actually excited for this.
No, mate. It should be a sick game.
Yeah,
amazing.
And if you've got anything else to add, Maz, I don't think there's too much else to talk about.
That's it, really. I feel like we've done a good job there covering all that.
Yeah, no, we've done well. So, thank you all for listening, watching, however you've been listening to us or watching us. Comments down below. Good point. It's got to be something back in De Zerbi, isn't it? We've got to be behind the boy.
What was that thing? Was it Zerbi ball? Whatever.
Oh yeah, let me have a look. De Zerbi is. I think it's like De Zerbi or something. I don't know how to spell it. That's my trouble. So for me to look this up is going to be horrific. But I think it's like De Zerbismo.
Okay, let's go with that.
But just De Zerbismo. I probably got that so wrong. Here you are. De Zerbismo. De Zerb is Mo. It's quite easy to spell.
There you
go. So literally just spell that. Apparently, according to David Watkins, that is. So cheers, David. But yeah, we'll say. Right. Comment that below if you made it this far. Not too much of a long one this time, but we'll be back next week after Liverpool. Thank you for listening to us as always. Be sure to keep streaming on the Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and if you're on YouTube, do subscribe, like, and everything like that. Matt's got another good point.
Sorry. FCAs. Make sure if you haven't already, go and vote for us. Vote
for us on the website. We'll leave a link in the description. And we'll see you next time. Goodbye.
Peace.